Okay, we are live on YouTube. And the last thing we need is this right here. Give that a old test.
Welcome to Between the Stitches, part of the Phenomenal Fan Media Group. Two former college teammates talking about what they know best.
All right, we ready to rip it again? I'll just run through the whole thing again. I don't give a shit.
Let's do it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone around the entire planet, thanks for tuning in to Between the Stitches podcast, baseball-only show, part of the Phenomenal Fan Media Group. My name is Ryan. We got a new host today for today's episode, John Badgett, former college teammate of myself and Jared's. Played with John for a while, and he knows his stuff about baseball. He knows the prospects. He knows the game. So it's good to have him on because we have a new top 100 prospects list that we'll be talking about today, diving into the new names, the names removed, all that stuff. We'll go through the standings like we usually do, and then we will get into the fact that Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout's careers are being just pissed away in front of our very eyes. So have a lot to cover today. Excited to cover it all. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 18 of Between the Stitches. And let's get into it.
Welcome to Between the Stitches, part of the Phenomenal Fan Media Group. Two former college teammates talking about what they know best, baseball.
All right, John, welcome to the show officially for the first time. It's good to have you on. We are live on YouTube. We're recording an episode, and like I said, played baseball with John. John's the prospect guy, one of the prospect guys. We got a couple other friends that are dialed into the prospects as well. But John, first of all, I guess welcome more than anything, and also let's get into it. Yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, we got a good amount to cover today. We always like to go through the standings before we do anything else on the episode, and go through the standings from East to West, American League to National League. So with that being said, starting in the American League East, everybody knows by now the Yankees are dominating, 58-23. The Yankees could lose 35 games in a row and be 500. They are 13 games over the Red Sox, 14 over the Rays and Blue Jays, 20.5 over the Baltimore Orioles, which is a lot of games. The Orioles aren't going to make any noise this year at all, but the Orioles are playing much better baseball than I think a lot of people anticipated. A lot of people had them on the same levels as Kansas City and just the amongst the worst teams in the league. And they're only minus 24, John, on the run differential. If I'm an Orioles fan, obviously they're calling up all their dudes. Adley Rutschman, Austin Hayes is playing out of his mind. Like, they're playing good baseball in some aspects. Yeah. They're not going to beat the Yankees. They're not going to beat the Red Sox. But if I'm an Orioles fan, I don't hate what I'm seeing.
I mean, they're
right.
And they're in the best division of baseball, right? Like, you have the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Blue Jays would all be in the playoffs, if not tied for a playoff spot in the wild card. So I mean, and then you got the Orioles are 6 games under. I don't think you can really expect anything more from an Orioles fan at this point, being only 6 games under 500.
Yeah, right now it's got the Red Sox with the 1 game lead in the wild card, and then Blue Jays and Tampa are tied for that second spot. So, I mean, theoretically, and not that it would be. I mean, there could be 4 teams coming out of that division, which would be bananas. So, I mean, if I'm the Orioles, I'm okay with it. Obviously, nobody expected them to be good this year. We just want their guys to come up, produce at a decent level, stay healthy, and it looks like they have. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. So good for the Orioles. Yankees are, I mean, most people would be shocked if they don't win that division. So good for them. Plus 159 run differential. I mean, it's just like it's pretty ridiculous. So. Minnesota leading the Central by 4.5 over the Cleveland Guardians. The White Sox can't seem to pull their head out of their own ass. 5.5 back, 2 games under 500, minus 44 in the run differential.
It's what happens when you got a 100-year-old man managing your team
Correct.
with a bunch of just guys who want to have fun.
That's a good
And
call, and I don't think La Russa will be there for very long. Is this his first year?
no, it was last year. Remember, he had the Mercedes incident where
Oh,
the new Mercedes
yeah, yeah,
hit the home run on the position player, and he like lost his mind, and then
yeah.
it's been downhill from there.
I wouldn't be
Yeah,
shocked if Tony gets canned after this year if they finish, if it stays how it's been, under 500 type team. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see him get the old hose at the end of the year. American League West again, just like the Astros are inevitable. Like I don't understand 13 and a half games over the Mariners. It's looking like a AL East type of situation, except the other teams in the AL East are better. The second place team in the AL West is the Mariners, 13 and a half back, but they're a game under 500. So maybe Seattle can find a way to get hot and catch up with some of those teams in the American League East and sneak in as that last playoff spot. But the bigger story, I think, in that entire division, nobody's shocked that Houston's winning it. Nobody's shocked Seattle's in second place, or even the Rangers in third in some capacity. But the Angels being 37 and 45, 17 games back. I mean, the games back thing is tough because the Astros are 53 and 27, so most likely they're going to have a big gap. But for the Angels to be, what is that, 8 games under 500, minus 14 run differential with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same team. I mean, those two guys in themselves, adding in a decent guy, Taylor Ward or Noah Syndergaard pitching pretty well. Like, I mean, they had a no-hitter at one point this year. What the fuck are they doing? It's embarrassing.
I mean, you have Mike Trout literally showing the pitchers that they're tipping pitches out in center field.
Yep.
Like, I mean, they have that huge brawl the other day, and then Rendon's, hitting guys and he's hurt. Like, I mean, the whole team it's just a wreck. Joe Madden's getting a mohawk and gets fired the same day, so the team doesn't get to see it. Like,
yeah,
it's just dysfunction at its finest, right? Like, well, let's just draft. Their entire draft class last year, 100% pitchers. They didn't even draft the position player. Like, that organization has no clue what they're doing. Right? I mean, I feel terrible for Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani because they're just getting pissed away.
Yeah, like we said, and we will definitely get into that. But moving on to the National League, the Mets are still leading the East. That giant lead they had in first place has shrunken significantly over the last week or two. They're still 50 and 31. They're still playing good baseball. Plus 59 on the run differential, but the Braves are 2.5 back of the Mets. And I don't know what that lead was at one point. I don't know the largest margin, but I know it was double digits. I know it was, 11, 12, maybe even 13 games at one point because the Mets were just on fire and everyone else in that division was playing horrible. But the Phillies have picked it up. Atlanta has picked it up. It's funny that Philadelphia has picked it up after getting rid of Joe Girardi. I don't know if it's just if it's a psychological thing, but it's just funny to me, like how much of a difference can a manager make, especially going from a seasoned veteran manager who has a track record of being successful to a guy with no experience. And the team didn't change. Nobody, they didn't acquire a bunch of new guys. They didn't send a bunch of guys. Like, the only thing that changed is the guy in the office for the manager's position. And all of a sudden they go from a couple games under 500 to now they're 43 and 38. They're only 7 games back. And I think at the wild card right now, they would be in the playoffs. So they're tied, I guess, essentially tied with St. Louis for that third and final wild card spot. But it's weird, John. I don't know. I don't like scapegoating managers, but it looks like it worked in that situation. It looks like they fired their guy and they went in the best direction. Whereas we talked about the Angels, get rid of Joe Madden and things just get fucking worse. So I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I guess it worked for Philly. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea how to explain that because they haven't changed, any of the roster and they're just playing better. I mean, I think maybe they're just having more fun, right? Like they're a team that lives and dies by the home run. So if they're not hitting home runs though, they're not going to be competing. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to be. I think they're a pretender. I don't think they're a contender. But right now, yeah, they're playing good baseball.
I mean, they also lost Harper, so I don't think that'll help whatever they're trying to do. They've played better without him, I think, is what I've seen, or at least they've maintained the the upward trend, which is just weird. And then, by the way, John, the Miami Marlins are 3 games back from a playoff position right now. They're 3 games back. They're a game under 500. Sandy Alcantara might be the greatest pitcher in the history of fucking baseball right now. I mean, that guy's just destroying people. But good for the Marlins. I mean, like, if the Marlins sneak in, it's a classic cliche saying that everybody likes to say, and fucking just over and over again, every postseason comes around, and they're like, well, yeah, the Marlins weren't expected to be there. That's the last team I'd want to play right now. Like, I get it. You know, everyone always says that. And then it happened. Like the Braves last year, people were like, oh, Braves have the worst record of any division winner. You know, they're doing all this, you know, going through injuries. They don't have Acuna. Then they kind of start to heat up and everyone goes, well, that's the last team I want to play. And then they go to and win the whole thing. So, you know, maybe there's some merit to that, but I don't think the Marlins will get in the postseason. If they did, it'd be cool to watch them. I mean, it'd be fun to watch, see what they would do. Just a bunch of young guys, nothing to lose. Why not? You know, why not them?
You got the starters to do it. I mean, you got, you know, Alcantara at the top, you got Lopez, you know, and then you have a guy like a Trevor Rogers coming. I mean, yeah, they have some top line guys. I worry about, you know, like who besides Jazz Chisholm and Garrett Cooper scares you in that lineup, but I mean, you never know, right? They beat the Cubs a couple years ago in
that
2020 Mickey Mouse season. So,
they did beat them. Yeah,
no, I mean, happens.
Yeah, I think if they would have had if they right now had one more guy, like a Starling Marte, if they'd have re-signed him. I know they were in on Castellanos. I know Castellanos hasn't been amazing this year, but just the name itself, I'd be like, well, they still have Castellanos, and then they have, you know, Aguilar, or, you know, they have Marte, one of those guys. But yeah, there's not much pop in that. I mean, I guess Jesus Sanchez occasionally can hit a ball 900 feet for them. I don't know.
Ryan Feltner.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, Coors Field too. So tough draw there. But NL Central, Brewers are up by 2.5 over the Cardinals. That John is a Cardinals guy through and through, and you know, I wouldn't be too worried. I don't think John is too worried either. I mean, the Cardinals are just. We talk about the Angels being poorly run. The Cardinals are just the polar opposite of that. They're just run so well, and they get so much consistent production out of guys that maybe either go elsewhere and don't produce, or just weren't expected maybe to be good. The Cardinals, I mean, they just call up. I mean, who's their newest? Yepez. I mean, obviously everyone expected Goldschmidt to be good, but I don't know how many people expected him to be MVP. He's probably the front runner for MVP right now, I'd say. You know, production from Adam Wainwright at 39, but Yadier Molina still playing baseball. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. Not good or bad. I don't think this was expected. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
the offense has been better than I've expected. The issue that they're running into is Flaherty's coming back, but he's not been right. You know, their whole starting rotation. Steven Matz has been on the shelf. They can't stay healthy. Starting pitching wise, I mean, Jordan Hicks is hurt, had a bunch of problems there. That's what I worry about. But if the Cardinals can get a guy to complement Michaelis and Wainwright, they're going to be. I think they'll win the division because I just don't see the Brewers having the bats to do it.
Yeah,
I don't see a guy in the Brewers lineup. I'm scares me anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think Christian Yelich is the same guy he was a few years ago.
Well,
so.
He stopped getting the signs from the outfield and cheating. So that's yeah. No, I think the Brewers are a good team. Obviously, their pitching is very good, but it's similar to the Padres that we'll touch on just here in a second with the NL West. But you can have all the pitching you want, and pitching at the end of the day, at least in my opinion, I think I've referenced it a few times on this show, but a good example. I meant to pull this up earlier. MLB team ERA rankings. So last year, John, in 2021, okay, I'm going to read you off the top 8 teams as far as whole team ERA, and you can tell me what they all have in common. All right. Last year in 2021, number 1 in baseball in team ERA, the Dodgers. Giants were 2, Milwaukee was 3, Tampa Bay was 4, Yankees were 5, Atlanta was 6, White Sox were 7, and Astros were 8. So of all those top 8 teams, what did they all have in common last year?
Had a nasty bullpen. That's what I would say.
It's a good. I mean, it's true, but if you look at it, the Dodgers got in as a wild card against the Cardinals. Giants won the West. Brewers won the Central. Tampa Bay, were they wild card or did they win the East outright last year?
They won the East.
They won the East. The Yankees got in as a wild card. Atlanta won the East, NL East. White Sox won the Central. Astros won the West. All those teams, all of those top 8 made the postseason. The only 2 teams that weren't in the top 10 to make the playoffs was St. Louis, the Cardinals, who got bounced in the first play-in game, and then the Red Sox at 15 had a high ERA, but the Red Sox absolutely piss-pounded the baseball last year, like smashed it. So if you're going to pitch and you have a high team ERA, for example, this year in 2022, Milwaukee's at 10. So if you're going to sit there at 10th in the league in team ERA, you're going to have to swing it a little bit. And that's the issue they're running into, I think, or they're going to run into at some point, is like you can only rely on Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and Josh Hader and Devin Williams. Like if they all, throw in a 2-game span and you give up 3 runs, but if you score 3 runs or you score 2, you go 1-1, or you go. So it's not going to work. It's not a sustainable thing. And that plays into the West, the transition to the NL West with the Dodgers, who are sitting at 2nd in team ERA. They're leading the National League West by 5.5 over my Padres. 51-29 for the Dodgers is pretty fucking good. The Padres are 47-36, which sounds excellent. Excellent. I mean, 11 games over. I would be, as a Padres fan, like I am. I've been content with their performance this year, but, and I think I'd be panicking a lot more if I didn't look at this division and see that the Padres are 2-8 in their last 10, which is not good. They're 6-12 in their last 18, so not good. But the Giants have lost 6 games in a row. They're 2-8 in their last 10 also. The Giants, I don't know, I guess I was expecting the Giants, this would be that like point in the season where the Giants would have like 3 games in a row where they're down 6 in the 9th inning and then they magically pinch hit Lamont Wade and he hits a 6-run home run to tie that. Like, that's what it felt like last year. It's like every fucking night they would pinch hit some guy they just called up and he would hit the most clutch like RBI double. And you know what I mean? So I figured the Giants at this point would be coming up, and I've been saying it on the show this whole season. Like, the Dodgers are in first, doesn't surprise anybody. Padres in second, Giants in third. My money was on that those would swap at some point throughout the season, and the Giants would jump up to second. But we've talked about it with everybody. San Francisco has dealt with some injuries. I mean, DeSclafani's done for the year. He's out. I want to say one of their other starters went on the shelf, they lost Kevin Gausman, for God's sake. I mean, that's a huge loss. I know they picked up Rodon, but he hasn't been, a Kevin Gausman level caliber guy. He's been solid. So Padres 5.5 back. I'm happy with it. Kind of.
You have to be happy with that. You have no Tatis still. Like,
yeah.
Just wait until Tatis comes back. Because
okay, but
that
again,
lineup is not scary yet until he gets back.
I agree with that. I would say even more so, to that point of the lineup not being scary, I think that's maybe an understatement. That team, the Padres right now as a team, team OPS, John, where do you think the Padres are in team OPS in Major League Baseball right now? Considering they have Manny Machado, Luke Voit, the superstar, incredible gold gloving World Series champion Eric Hosmer, Will Myers is getting $18 million this year. Trent Grisham had a superstar year in 2020. What do you think they are in OPS right now, John?
They got a 691 OPS. I'm 6 in the league.
What'd you say? 26?
I'm gonna say 26. They got a 691 OPS.
So they're 20th in the league in OPS. But what's even worse is their slugging, because their slugging right now is 375 as a team. Then that is good for 26th in the league in slugging. So the whole point of this diatribe is the Padres aren't hitting the ball. And it's the same with Milwaukee. You got to slug. You got to get on base. You have to have a decently high, at least a decently high OPS. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how good you pitch it. It doesn't matter. What's even scarier or worse, if you will, is that The Dodgers are second in team ERA in baseball, and they're third in team. No, wait, what's their OPS as a team? Fuck, I had it on slugging. Yeah, they're first in OPS, and they're second in the league in team ERA. I mean, it's just
You could say they've underperformed. I mean, honestly, a
yes,
little bit this year.
and they don't have their guys. Like Walker Buehler hasn't contributed as much for them. Mookie Betts was out for 2 weeks. Like
Dustin May hasn't been back yet.
Dustin May, dude.
Kershaw's been hurt.
Yeah,
They still got
Daniel Hudson.
dudes.
Daniel Hudson was shoving for them. He's done for the year too with an ACL. So it's like, dude, like we joked about the Giants being able to just shit out like, or the Cardinals, good, and it's not a dig. It's just they just are good at player development, I guess. But then who's the guy for the Dodgers this year out of the bullpen? Phillips, is that his name? Evan Phillips?
Phillips, yeah.
Like he's got like a 1.6 ERA and he leads the team in appearances. It's like, who is he? And what, like, I'm sure he might have been a high prospect or maybe they thought he was solid, but I don't think anybody was like, oh, hey, who's going to be the guy for the Dodgers this year in the bullpen? Evan Phillips. Like, not Craig
Gonsolin's their best starter.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought
like,
that?
It's annoying. I mean, obviously it's annoying as a Padres fan, but you have to commend it. It is what it is. But I think, John, the telling stat for those teams, I mean, a lot of them are dominating. But, the Brewers lead the Cardinals by 2.5, like we said, 34 on the run differential. It's solid, but it's not something where we look at the Dodgers at plus 143 or the Yankees at plus 156, Astros at plus 93. Like the teams that are, I think, solid are starting to separate that run differential a little bit. I mean, you should be, if you're a good team, quote unquote, at this point, I'm just looking through all the different run differentials. I think you should be over plus 50, maybe plus 55. I mean, looking at the Mets are plus 59, Cardinals are plus 56, the Red Sox are plus 59, Minnesota's plus 50. So like those are solid teams. Atlanta's plus 58. Padres are plus 48. So like those are solid teams, but then Milwaukee down at plus 34. I think that just shows they're just not really hitting the ball. And then I think the last thing we'll say on these standings here that's interesting is that they do have expected win-loss listed on there, and I think that's based on runs given up versus runs scored. Right now they have the Cardinals expected wins-loss to be a game over the Brewers. A lot of teams are right on the nose. The Padres are right on the nose at 47 and same exact record. Giants are 1 game off. But there are a few teams that stand out. There is one in particular. I can't remember. I thought I saw someone somewhere. Maybe it was earlier in the year. I think it was like the Yankees were at their, like it was like 2 weeks ago, and they had whatever record they had, and their expected win-loss was actually like 4 games better than what they were like 2 weeks ago. I was like, dude, holy shit, man. I mean, yeah, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much standings update. Yankees in the East, Twins in the Central, Astros in the West. Mets in the NL East, Brewers in the NL Central, Dodgers in the NL West. If the playoffs ended today, the 3 wildcard teams in each league would be Padres, Giants, and Cardinals, I believe, in the National League. And then in the American League, it'd be the 3 teams in the American League East, not the Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, Red Sox. So interesting all the way around. I don't think any of those are like shocking. I think the biggest shock so far of any of those performances is the White Sox. I think that everybody thought the White Sox were going to be a lot better. They haven't been very good. It is what it is, John, but we will move on because it's important to know not only how teams are doing now, but how they're going to do in the future. And with that being said, we got some new prospects. Let me pull up the new MLB top 100 prospects list. I heard rumors, John, that there's a new number 1. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Riley Green.
Riley Green. Yeah, he's actually in the big leagues now. So
yeah.
I mean, he'll be taken off the list soon enough. But a few guys like really jumped up. Francisco Alvarez for the
Mets.
Which my thing is like if you look at like historical like numbers with catchers being like really high ranked prospects, they never normally have like the WAR equivalent to another guy who's like a Julio Rodriguez, or like a Bobby Witt.
Sure.
Like that's why I didn't really agree with like Rushman being number 1, just because catching is so hard and you're not catching enough games to compete with a guy who's playing 150 games a year. That's like my gripe with the list, but Orioles had 2 guys in the top 5, which I thought was interesting.
That's huge.
And Cardinals had a guy in the top 10. And then a few older names on the list that have been there, like Volpe for the Yankees.
The Yankees, yep.
Yeah, and then most recent draft class was Marcelo Meyer for the Red Sox,
All the way up.
number 10.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to me, considering kid's 19 years old and he's top 10 prospect already and hasn't even ball. I don't know what your take on that is, but obviously he's pretty high up on the list.
Yeah, I mean, going through that list, like you said, going through 1 through 10, Riley Green, like they all have for each guy they have listed on there is the level they're at, and then their ETA, their expected like big league debut year. And Marcelo Meyer's the first guy with the year 2024 listed, which is crazy because that's still only 2 years from now, and put him at 21. The rest of these guys are 21 and 20. But he's also the first guy on the list that's in straight up A ball, not even advanced A. He's in like straight up single A right now, 19 years old. I don't have a problem with it. I just really hope, it's not like it's not a jinx, you know what I mean? Or something like that kind of ends up working against them, or he's got, because some guys, I mean, like, Mark Appel or these other, like these guys that just come up with these gigantic expectations right off the bat. Yeah, if you're a high pick, you're going to have high expectations, but to be a high pick and then go jump up the list so quickly, I mean, I was surprised to see a guy like for the Padres, like Robert Hassel. He was a 2020 draft pick, and he was in the top 100 as of this previous list, and then he's jumped up to 24. So, yeah, same type of thing. That kid's 20. I see a lot of guys on here that I know. Jack Leiter up at 17. O'Neal Cruz will probably booted off this list at some point in this season. Nick Lodolo has had some big league time. Going through here, Royce Lewis.
Michael Harris.
Yeah. Matthew Liberatore, that's your guy with the Cardinals. He's been up. Did Nolan Gorman get bumped off then, I'm guessing? Or is he even on? Yeah, I'm guessing because
he got taken off the list.
Yeah, so Nolan Gorman, a lot of guys got called up. I don't know the answer to this, John, but do you know which team has the most guys on the list? Is it the Orioles?
That's a very good question.
Let me go through here. So the Angels have 0. Angels have 0. Weird. Astros have 1. Oakland has 3. Blue Jays have 4. Braves have 0. Interesting. Brewers have 3. Cardinals have 4 still. That's very impressive. Cubs have 4. D-backs have 3. So right now the 4. Oh, perfect. So 4 was the number, and then I clicked on Dodgers, and they have 6 guys in the top 100. So that's great.
Just rich keep getting richer.
The Giants have 3. The Guardians have 6. Interesting. So good for Cleveland. Cleveland has 6 guys in the top 100. The Mariners have 4. The Marlins have 3. The Mets have 4. The Nationals have 2. The Orioles have 5. Going to the Orioles quickly. Also, John, I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys are supposed to be kind of dudes. Like you said, Grayson Rodriguez, 4th overall prospect. Gunnar Henderson, 5th overall. Even DL Hall, I thought was supposed to be pretty solid for them.
I mean, DL Hall is 100 from the left side, and then a guy they drafted out of Arkansas 2 years ago just started playing in the minor leagues. He had a heart issue. Heston Kjerstad, he just started playing for the Orioles minor league. So I don't even know if he's on the list, but
no, he's not. But
he
it
was
sounds
the 2nd overall pick. So it's you got to expect a guy like that to come up to the big leagues at some point too.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it before, but if I'm an Orioles fan, I'm fine with what's going on right now. I mean, it sucks, right? I mean, to not be good on the field playing, but it's not that they're doing it the right way. They're doing it exactly how you're supposed to do it. They're building it from the ground up. They have a good foundation, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Orioles competing for a division potentially in the next 4 to 5 years. I don't know how soon that's going to, be, or if the Yankees will fall off. I mean, for fuck's sake, Aaron Judge, no one knows where he's going to be next year. It's if Aaron Judge leaves the Yankees, I mean, that's literally that's 8 wins off your roster. If you look at, where he'll probably finish with WAR. So I don't know. I mean, the Rays are always scrappy in that division. The Red Sox are always run well. Toronto's got a pretty young, deep roster, but I'd look out for the Orioles. Whatever it was when the Sports Illustrated did in like 2011 or 12, they did a cover like Houston Astros 2017 World Series champions. Like they were 5 years out, and it ended up paying off for them. So you can't have every one of those guys just hit right on the nose either. Not all prospects are going to just flourish and be superstars, but yeah, not bad. Padres have 3. I think they should have 4, but they have 3: Robert Hassel, Camposano, and James Wood. Phillies have 3. Let's see here. Pirates have 5, including O'Neal Cruz, who will be off at some point. How do we feel about O'Neal Cruz, John? What do we like? Do we think he's Tatis level type guy? Will he get there? What do we think?
I mean, I love the tools, right? But if you look at like his minor league stats throughout his tenure down there, doesn't have a lot of hit tool there. I mean, yeah, he's got the crazy power, the crazy speed, but making consistent contact, I worry about that. And you know how it is. Like every time you move up a level, the pitching just gets that much better. I definitely worry about him. I mean, he's a career 275 hitter in the minor leagues, but which isn't bad. But he was hitting 232 in AAA this year. I worry about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's a huge guy too. I mean, he's like 6'7". Like, there's not a lot of guys besides like an Aaron Judge or a Stanton who are that big that play this long. I mean, it's just tough on your body, and it's tough to like repeat your mechanics at that size too.
Yeah. 6'7" as a shortstop. That's asking a lot, I think. So,
Yeah.
I mean, of course we hope for the best, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, he may end up transitioning to a third base or even a corner outfield or something. I don't know. Rangers also have 6, John. They have 6 in the top 100. Good for the Rangers. That's good because they'll be able to call up guys like Leiter, like Josh Jung, to complement the pieces that they spent a fuckload of money on with Simeon, with Corey Seager, John Gray. Tough signing there. Yeah. We love John Gray around here. The Rays have 5. That's not shocking. One of them is Shane Baz, who I'm assuming will be removed from that list soon. Josh, is it Lowe, the outfielder? Because they have Josh Lowe and they have Brandon Lau, and they're both spelled exactly the same. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't butcher that. Red Sox have 4. The Reds have 4. Would hope for more from the Reds. Reds are struggling. Hey, the Colorado Rockies have 4, John. That's not bad. It's probably one of the highest numbers they've had in the last 10 years as far as top 100 guys.
Newsflash, none of them are pitchers.
Yeah, shocker.
Exactly what they need. But, yeah, I think out of their top, it's not – in their top 10 themselves, their highest ranked pitcher is the 7th overall prospect in their top 30. So, I mean, the Rockies do have some nice hitting pieces like Zach Mean and Tovar and Drew Romo, but yeah, pitching wise, I mean, there's a lot left to be desired there for sure.
Yeah. Royals have 2, including both of their guys. I think, will be off that list by this time next year. Nick Prado will be up at some point. The Tigers have 2, and Riley Green will be off at some point. The Twins have 1 with Royce Lewis. He will be off fairly soon. The White Sox only have 1 top 100 guy, and that's not ideal if they're going to start trending downwards. And then the Yankees have 5 guys. Funny enough, John, so they have Volpe, Oswaldo Peraza, Jason Dominguez is supposed to be a fucking stud. I don't know if he dropped or went up, or I don't know what happened there, but he's supposed to be really good. Austin Wells, a catcher. And then, oddly enough, John, their 5th ranked prospect in the New York Yankees organization, 74th out of 100, is a kid named Ken Waldachuk. I played against Ken Waldachuk in high school. He played at University City High School in San Diego, and he was like okay, like he was probably like mid to upper 80s, like his senior year. but there was nothing about that kid that was ever like, this guy's a big leaguer on the Yankees. So it's kind of fucking crazy. Like, I literally saw his name on Major League or Minor League Baseball sent out a tweet about him because he's just having an unbelievable season, I guess. And they're like, yeah, you know, Ken Waldichuk, he's going to probably find himself. And I was like, Ken Waldichuk? Like, that mid to upper 80s left-handed fucking dude from San Diego that we played against. But, I mean, he's got a 1.9 ERA and 14 starts and 68 innings. I mean, pretty good stuff. So, yeah, that pretty much sums it up, John. And unless there's any names on here that you feel like we skipped over that we should talk about. Is this Daniel Espino? Is that the kid who went first? Did he go first overall?
No, he was he kind of fell in the draft. He's like kind of classic, like teams are pretty hesitant about taking right-handed high school arms, you know, like high in the draft.
Because he was throwing like 100, right? Or close to
yeah,
it.
Yeah, but I mean, he was like 100, 101 in high school, and he's about to like 103. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got a ridiculous arm. But yeah, it's like anything though. You look at like the average numbers from the time a high school right-hander is drafted in the first round. On average, they're in the big leagues in 5 to 6 years. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long waiting period, and but yeah, I mean, he's legit. Like, I mean, you talk about like stuff. This kid's, 70 grade fastball,
Yeah.
65 grade slider. Like, that's plus stuff. I mean, he'll be up. Maybe not this year, but definitely next year for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shit. I mean, yeah, it's a good list. It's a lot of young guys. I actually knew a lot more, at least reading the names off, you know, like I know the names, you know, maybe it's just because I played fucking MLB The Show and they have these prospect cards in there. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I knew a good amount up until about, you know, like mid 40s, and then it kind of starts to drop off. But like even in like 53, Ronnie Mauricio, I know that guy because of MLB The Show, you know, or like there's another one, DL Hall's in MLB The Show. There's a couple others. But either way, that'll cover the list of top 100 guys. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, John, before we sign off here is we talked about the Angels already and how shitty they are. Everybody knows they're shitty. But the biggest problem is they're not shitty with a bunch of shitty players. They're shitty with two of arguably the best players in the sport itself on the same team, featured in the same lineup, hitting back to back on most nights.
And he pitches too.
And one of them is at his peak a Cy Young contender, and obviously an MVP last year. But that's Ohtani and Trout with the Angels. So I think I want to be sure on this before I look it up. But I'm pretty sure Shohei Ohtani only has 2 years left, including this year, on his contract. He's got $5.5 million due this year. He's got arbitration, his third year of arbitration next year. Then in 2024, John, he's an unrestricted free agent. Unrestricted. And he'll be, what, 30? He'll be 30 years old as an unrestricted free agent, having an MVP, being the stellar guy that he is. Yeah, so the question is, if the Angels want to truly suck, which at this point honestly wouldn't be the worst strategy, just considering how poorly they've played and that this season's over. Like, their season's over. They're not coming back from this. They're not a team that has a run in them. They don't have that capability. They have a good roster, but they don't have the run. So if, hypothetically, they were to dump a guy like Ohtani at the trade deadline, and each of the teams in the major leagues came to them and said, we will give you blank for Shohei Ohtani, what we wanted to touch on, what each team would have to give up to get Shohei Ohtani from the Angels. And I think it's a good discussion because it's probably not going to happen. But if out of nowhere, you know, I don't know, who's a team that's like right on the cusp, like maybe the Giants, I don't know, maybe the Mariners, maybe like one of these teams where it's like they start to win a few games, the trade deadline's still about a month away, they go 20 24-6 in the next 30 games, shit, we're there. We just need that one extra spark. So going through the teams, we don't have to spend too much time on each team, but starting again, we'll do the same thing we did with the standings. What would the Yankees have to give up to get Ohtani? What do you think, John?
I think they'd have to give up. Yeah, I mean, like Jason Dominguez, they might have to give up like a Nestor Cortez. I mean, they'd have to give up at least like 2 of their top 5 guys, and then a pretty established big leaguer at least.
So then that would be. You think a lot of these teams, when we're saying have to give up, do you think those teams, like most of them, would lean towards having to give up big prospects? You think, like,
yeah,
just the Angels to rebuild,
just for the control thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a guy, he's top rated prospect. You get him for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
With the new CBA, like 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm not paying him a lot of money. That's a lot. That's the way the league is going. It's getting younger and younger every year.
The Red Sox would probably have to give up Mayer, probably. I'm guessing. Like, would you, if they came to the Yankees, or they came to the Angels, excuse me, and they said, we'll give you Marcelo Mayer and we'll give you I don't know, a controllable young starting pitcher. I don't know who that would be. Maybe like I don't even know. Like, is Mayer enough, or did they probably have to throw in a couple more guys, I'm guessing, but I don't see that happening, so we don't have to spend too much time on that. The Rays, I feel like, could pull it off with just the young weapons they have, but the Rays make sure to get the most out of their guys as young as possible, and then get 3 good years out of them, and then dump them for somebody that's much better before they have to actually pay them money. So I don't know if they do Ohtani, but
trade the guys that aren't going to ever amount to anything either. They're going to trade the guys that
that
they already know aren't good.
Yeah, they'd find a way. The Blue Jays, I don't know who they'd have to give up, but I don't know if I'd see that happening either. Let me see. The Blue Jays,
like a guy like a Gabriel Moreno.
Yeah, he's number 6. Yeah, number 6 prospect. They could go Moreno. They could go him and like Manoah. Like, would they be willing to give up Alek Manoah? Probably no, but it's just a conversation. The Orioles also have the weapons to do it. Will it happen? No. But what if the Orioles came to the Angels and said, we'll give you Grayson Rodriguez and Gunnar Henderson for Shohei Ohtani straight up? Is that enough?
I'm running to if I'm the Angels, I'm taking that. I'm absolutely taking that. I don't think Ohtani wants to stay in.
No, he doesn't. He's not even going to negotiate, I don't think, with them. So
I mean, how are they going to pay him? With the Rendon contract and the Trout contract, like
they can't.
They're not going to be able to pay him what he wants.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm trading him if I'm the Angels, but
so you take 4 and 5 overall prospects for Ohtani straight up.
Absolutely, for a year and a half of control, I would 100% take that deal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's possible. I mean,
you can't afford him as a team. Like, there's no way the Angels re-sign Ohtani. There's just no way.
Right. Twins. The Twins came to the Angels and said, we'll give you Royce Lewis and we'll give you I don't even know who else would be on their team. Royce Lewis is their top prospect, but Royce Lewis and
Joe Ryan.
Yeah, that's a good call. Joe Ryan maybe, or I don't know, Dobnak or something. White Sox. I think if the White Sox came to the Angels and said, we'll give you Andrew Vaughn and, I don't know, maybe like Eloy. I feel like those 2 types of guys, like Eloy can't really stay healthy, so maybe that's a little bit of a risk, but it's like he's still amazing when he's healthy. I feel like that'd be a decent shuffle. I mean, Andrew Vaughn's been really good for them. I don't know. It's just weird because we sit here and talk about it, like you said, but Artie Moreno, he might have Ohtani's value as like if Padres are like Tatis for Ohtani straight up, and he'd be like, no, I wouldn't, like, no, or he, like, if money wasn't a fact, like, he probably thinks, I mean, he's probably the best player in the world, in all honesty, just as far as value, but yeah, money has to be a consideration. Cleveland definitely has the youngness to do it. I don't think they would do it. Maybe. I mean, looking at their prospects, if they came, they said, we'll give you Naylor, Espino, and Owen Miller for Shohei Ohtani. Would you do it?
Probably not, honestly. I mean, you'd have to get way more pitching than that, I feel
Yeah.
like. If you're the Angels, you gotta I mean, that's their problem, right? Like, we talk about it
That's
every year.
true. If the team has
Yeah,
the pitching for it, yeah.
yeah.
Detroit won't do it. Kansas City won't do it. Stupid to talk about. Could the Astros consider it? Like, what if they went Christian Javier and Fran Valdez straight up for Ohtani? You would do
I'm
that?
taking that all day. I'm taking that all day.
Because I think most
Absolutely.
people would freak out and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know, like, no way. I would take that, and I would take that too if I was the Angels. But my point is, if the Astros came to them and said, "This is what we offer," Artie Moreno would probably literally scoff at that and be like, "That's fucking ridiculous. I would never take that in a million years." Whereas he probably should. he probably
Yeah.
he probably should. Um, Seattle. I mean,
Imagine if you gave
um,
up Julio for Ohtani. How interesting
like
that would be.
straight up, Julio Rodriguez for Shohei Ohtani. Would you take that?
I mean, if I'm the Angels, I'm taking it. If I'm the Mariners, I'm definitely not doing that deal. But
Who's
yeah,
the young who's the young pitcher that the Padres traded away for Austin Nola, who throws
oh,
three
Andres
quarters?
Munoz.
Well, no, Munoz too, but
Oh, Matt
um
Brash.
I think it's Matt Brash. Let me see their roster. Mariners roster this year.
Yeah, it was Matt Brash.
Was it? Is he up in the big leagues or is he hurt right now?
He was in the big leagues earlier. And then he just didn't do well. But he's back down to the minors. I'm not sure if he's hurt actually, but um, he's got like one of the most disgusting sliders I've
Yeah, I
ever
know.
seen.
Yeah, I know. Trust
Yeah.
me. Um the Rangers, what if the Rangers came to the Angels and said, "We'll give you Leiter and Josh Jung and John Gray for Shohei Ohtani."
Right. John Gray might be a downgrade
I
in the
know,
deal, but
but it's a pitcher, you know?
it is a pitcher. I don't know if I'm doing that, but just because I mean, I'd maybe put like a Cole Winn. If you included like a Cole Winn in there,
Yeah,
probably would do that deal.
yeah.
But
Oakland's not going to do anything. The Mets, could the Mets pull that off? If the Mets pulled that out, the Mets said, "We'll give you Jacob deGrom for Shohei Ohtani straight up." Would you take that if you're the
no,
Angels?
I'm not doing it.
No,
No way. No.
that's not enough.
I mean, I love DeGrom, but
Can't
you
stay
know,
healthy.
the health thing, yeah, concerns me for sure.
What if they went Alvarez and deGrom
It's a
for
little more
Ohtani?
intriguing. Yeah, I mean, I'd still be looking at like you'd have to give up like maybe like a cookie like a Carlos Carrasco.
Yeah,
in that deal
somebody,
too.
Tywin Walker or something. Yeah. Atlanta probably doesn't really have the system to do it. They have nobody in the top 100.
I mean,
I
they got
mean,
rid of everybody in the offseason within that Olsen deal, and
yeah. What if they
um,
go? What if they said, "We'll give you Acuna and Ian Anderson for Shohei Ohtani"?
yeah, I'm doing that.
Would you do
I'm
that?
doing that 100. Yeah, I'm doing
What
that
if you take
absolutely. I mean,
out? What if you take out Acuna? What if you said, like, who's the young guy they just Michael something
Harris, the
yeah,
third,
Michael
yeah.
Harris and Ian Anderson for Shohei Ohtani. Michael
No.
Harris and Max Fried for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I like Max Fried, but
I don't
yeah,
know. Like,
I
I
mean,
feel like,
that's tough. That's tough.
yeah, I don't know. The Phillies don't really have, I don't know. They have a couple guys in
And
the
they
top
have
100 that
hitters.
are pitchers, though. Andrew Painter and is it Mick Abel? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what if they said Painter, Abel, and I don't know, Moniak, or I don't know, Young.
Outbound.
Yeah. Somebody like young and controllable. Miami. So what if the Marlins said Pablo Lopez and Jesus Sanchez and maybe one more pitcher, Max Mayer?
Yeah, or like a Yuri Perez. Yeah, I would do that 100%. I mean, it just makes too much sense for them not to do it, but you know, Knowing them, yeah, they're just
Yeah.
not going to pull the trigger on that.
Nationals aren't going to do anything. The Brewers, I don't think, have the system for it. They got 3 guys in the top 100. They're all outfielders. Would the Cardinals ever do that, John? What if they said Liberatore and Nolan Gorman and Harrison Bader for Ohtani?
Yeah. I mean, as much as I would like to see Ohtani as a Cardinal, I don't think they would do it.
They like their
just not
guys.
they're not a splashy team like that. I mean, even like the Arenado deal was like weird for them, going out and getting
Goldschmidt,
a guy.
yeah.
Yeah, just those were like not normal things that they
Yeah.
would do.
Cubs wouldn't do it. Pirates wouldn't do it. Reds wouldn't do it. Honestly, the Dodgers would and could easily pull that trade off. They would do it and they could do it. If they said, we'll give you I think it's pronounced Pepio, the guy who's been pitching for me.
Yeah.
Ryan Pepio, Bobby Miller, and I don't know, another young controllable position player
Dustin
like
May or something like that.
or yeah, Dustin May or even I'm trying to think like who's on their roster. Pepio and Miller, by the way, are both going to be just freaks. Like they're going to be
Pepio got
amazing.
his first win.
Yeah,
Yesterday against the Rockies.
he did.
I thought.
Or if they go Pepio, Miller, and Gavin Lux. You take that if you're the Angels?
Yeah, I'm taking that all day. And if I'm the Dodgers, I'm taking that too.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like
I think it's a win-win.
yeah, that sucks to hear. And I don't want anybody in the Dodgers organization to hear this fucking podcast, get any ideas. But like, dude, I mean, could you imagine the Dodgers getting Shohei Ohtani? Seriously? Could you? I mean, yeah.
It's the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that lineup though? You got like Trey Turner at the top. You got
Turner,
Mookie
Betts, Bellinger, Freeman,
and then
Justin Turner.
Ohtani.
This is in no particular order. Muncy, Ohtani, Will Smith. Yeah, that'd be
Chris Taylor. I mean, just the names go on and on.
The Padres wouldn't do it. I don't think Preller is too much into his own guys. And if they did do it, they'd have to give up probably Mackenzie Gore, probably CJ Abrams, probably Robert Hassel. To honestly, one of those 2, or if not all 3 of those guys, which is not ideal. I don't think they would do it. The Giants, I don't know if the Giants they don't really have much to offer. They're kind of an old veteran team. I don't really see them making that big splash anyways. And then the D-backs, I mean, they don't have much. I mean, honestly, I could see the Rockies doing it just because they're fucking stupid, and they would trade like CJ Crone and I don't know, Jonathan Daza and Kyle Freeland and Ryan Rollison, like all of them for Ohtani, for like a year and a half of Ohtani to finish 4th in the division to sell jerseys.
And both those teams that think it's a great deal, and they're both gonna be shit.
Correct. Where is Rollison, by the way? Is he not a top 100 or did he?
No, he's 7th on the Rockies top 30 list.
Oh shit! I thought he'd be
he's
higher
been
by now.
struggling. No, he's been.
Didn't he get
struggling.
called up? It says
No.
MLB on his level. Oh, maybe not.
He got called up.
It says MLB when it says level. So,
Oh, that
20.
must have just happened then.
No, he hasn't gotten called up. Doesn't look like it. 2021, he's in Round Rock and High A, Double A, Triple A. So he's up to Albuquerque, and he's struggled in Albuquerque. But yeah,
I don't even
interesting.
think he hasn't even pitched this year yet. He's on the 60-day IL.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Well, that's pretty much going to do it, John. Hopefully we encapsulated you guys enough. You enjoyed the conversation, a little prospect action. If John's able to join us again next week or something, we'll try to get that figured out, but we'll know, I think this time next week, who will be starting the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken. Or is the All-Star game, will it be over by? No. It's the week after, right?
Yeah,
It's the week after. July 19th, I think, is the All-Star game. Yeah, but we'll know who's starting, I think, by then, or maybe some home run derby participants, so we can get into that. We'll talk about I'm sure by then, especially with just the way teams are playing, more of these trade rumors or guys that are shopped will be starting to gain a lot more momentum. I think the trade deadline this year was August 2nd or something like that. They pushed it back a couple days. So we'll see. Otherwise, it'll be cool to just see who makes the All-Star teams, for each league. Yeah, and there'll be maybe some shakeups in the standings. Big series to watch upcoming this weekend, John, just as an FYI. The Padres play the Giants, so that it's a 4-game series in San Diego. So that's just big. Phillies and Cardinals. That's also going to be a really good matchup. I'm excited for that one.
I'll be there.
There you go. Marlins Mets doesn't look like that'd be on paper really at the beginning of the year anything to write home about, but the Marlins go in there and take 2 out of 3, or for God's sake they sweep them. I mean, that would be electric. So I mean, hey, who knows? Yankees Red Sox, also a huge series for obvious reasons. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for compelling series. I mean, Blue Jays Mariners gonna be solid, but yeah, there's a few series this weekend that will have good indications of directions teams are heading and maybe some playoff implications. So other than that, John, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you guys for tuning in to Between the Stitches, episode 18. We appreciate it as always. And, check us out on social media. Check us out on TikTok. And otherwise, weekend. John, you got anything for him on the way out? Peace. Adios. All right, we'll catch you guys later.
Thanks for listening to Between the Stitches. Follow Phenomenal Fan Media on social media for more. And subscribe on Patreon for exclusive content.
Let's go! Batter up! We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a home run. But even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a